You're so yellow and bright. I feel like I'm not allowed to directly look at you.
Well, it's not about who's brighter.
Hello everybody and welcome to Inside the Urn. We are two boys, Bryan.
Kyle.
And we are here to talk about the two boots from episode 2.
Wow, of season 4.
Yeah. Okay, you ruined it.
First up, we have the Birak tribe. They are the tribe that faced the first tribal council, so the aftermath is that there is a lot of guilt on that tribe after voting Holly to redemption. And there are a lot of questions around, where did Ken get this idol? Ken's approach is to diffuse the threat level here by showing them the note that says he can only play it at the first tribal council, and I think it says that he was gifted it from a winning tribe as well. Yeah. So he's able to show that, like, I didn't go and find this. Somebody gave it to me, I don't know who, and I had to play it at that tribal, and now that's done, so please don't look at me anymore. I'm not a threat.
I can't remember. You get given the idol in real time, and then you have to switch the paper inside before you give it to Ken.
I run from blue camp to red camp with that idol whilst repackaging it with a new note.
Yeah.
To give to Ken in his confessional.
Right.
Inside scoop.
And this is ultimately the right move for Ken, right? He and this argument will come full circle into full fruition at the tribal council that they will attend later on, where he's managed to fully confirm with his tribe that he was given this idol and he didn't find it. But whether or not that works in his advantage or to his disadvantage, that's what Josh is eventually going to weaponize against him later on.
Yeah, and I'm not sure whether the idol really factors into Birak's decision to put the votes on Ken, but it does introduce this debate of does he have a connection on another tribe because they were all together at the beginning? Is that an asset? Because he could pull somebody in, especially if they're going to be down to 4 now. They're going to need numbers from other tribes to be able to have some sort of majority down the track. Or is it a threat because Ken might just jump ship and say, see ya?
Or all of the above at some point in time. We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah. We didn't talk about this last time, I don't think. The other option that Ken could have had by receiving that idol could be to not play it at the first tribal council. It only works as an idol at the first tribal council, but you don't have to play it. You could hold on to it, which means he could have potentially shown it in this episode to say, look, I feel like the votes are going on me. I have this idol. I'm going to play it.
A shame about this idol is that we lost it.
Yeah, if you've seen it.
We lost this idol and it was custom made for us and it looked awesome. So there would have been no denying that this was a real idol.
Yeah.
Because there's no way anyone finds this lying around. So if anybody's got it, please return it to us. Just post it to us. We don't need to know that you've had it this whole time.
Yeah, hashtag where is first boot idol. That's a long hashtag.
Yeah.
First boot idol returns. First boot idol redemption. I don't know. Just give it back. We could potentially see if somebody does hold on to it rather than play it at the first tribal council, that they effectively have a fake idol to use at any point down the track.
Ultimately, he burns his idol in that first tribal council and he doesn't have that weapon going in. So where does that leave the Birak tribe?
Rachel identifies that her number 1 is Matt, and if Josh and Michael are a pair, losing Ken could mean they're going into a 2-2 in the next round.
So the question is, do you prepare for the next tribal council and take a shot earlier, or do you just go with Ken and hope for the best? And ultimately, that is where everyone will land in this vote. Everyone will vote Ken out.
The other part of this as well is the debate about redemption. Do you try to send somebody who will potentially do well at redemption so there's a higher chance of them getting back into the game, so you regain that number at the merge? And so that is also something that Rachel is floating here of is Michael the best person to send because he could beat anyone else that goes there? So she thinks. Rachel
talked a big game in her preseason, and this is really Rachel on peak, right? She didn't come to around.
Yeah.
I swear. Josh, who big Survivor fan, also came here to play, isn't willing to just trust that the name is Ken. So that's where we go into tribal council and we see this back and forth between Josh and Ken about this idol and its pros and its cons.
I remember sitting at that tribal council, seeing these two people who just like identify that like it's between me and him. I don't want it to be me. This is my pitch to you other three. And then to have that like retaliated, and both of them presenting such valid arguments as to why this is an asset, why this is a liability. And you can kind of see like Matt C calls it at Tribal Council to say like it's really good to hear both of their sides to this. And it gives them a lot to think about, like what is the right decision for us?
Ken is not an overly confrontational person here.
Yeah.
So to hear Ken kind of step up and like go kind of head to head with Josh and not get flustered at Josh's constant rebuttals to his argument. Ken knows Survivor. Ken knows the game. Ken knows what the pros of having that idol is, and he knows how to rebut what Josh is heading in. So, Ken's the first one to put out there that, potentially he's a stupid kid and that he's not that smart. But Ken was very smart in this tribal council and was able to construct a very solid argument, well-constructed argument.
He knew his point of difference of like, these are the reasons why you should keep me. He was able to articulate that very well.
Yeah. If they were to go to tribal council again, who knows how that plays out? There was, concerns about a 2-2 here. Is that what's going to play out? We'll have to wait and see.
And you also have Ken going to Redemption, where he will meet up with Holly, who he played a hand in voting her out. So we'll get to see how that dynamic unfolds there as well.
I cannot think of anything more awkward.
Right. It's like, hello.
Yeah.
Sorry.
How are you?
Yeah. How's it going?
You'll get to see. Okay, moving on to the Joba tribe. They're our first tribal council, so we really get to see how the dynamics have shaken out in that tribe. So I think one of the first things that we see in that tribe is Matt and Sal instantly realize they're outnumbered if the girls all decide to get together.
They basically say, like, as long as it's not either of us two, like, who are we looking at? And they focus on the challenge. And they say, like, Abby, Valentina, they were the two that kept dropping in the challenge. So if there's anyone we can sort of get a name out there that people will agree on, probably one of those two. They don't mind which. It's like either of those two. Yeah. It's fine by them.
The edit here is very intentional, right? Going into that tribal council, we kind of get a sense that it's Val. We know that it's Val. I guess what's interesting about, like how it's presented is this is a perfect illustration of how Backyard Survivor works, right? Valentina, who's a very well-rounded, likable person who's done nothing wrong, all of a sudden, momentum gathers around her name and boom, 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 everybody talks to everybody, and that's it. All the votes are on Valentina except for her.
Yeah, if the name isn't getting any opposition from someone when it gets put forward, then... people, it's their first time going to tribal council. They don't want it to be them. Kiara's been in this situation before, going to a tribal council where the momentum gathered and it was her name. So she is well aware that, like, the momentum needs to gather on somebody else's name. And Abby's the one that puts forward Valentina to Kiara. And they only put forward that one name. And so... we know that like Matt and Sal were talking about Val or Abby, and so like there's a common name there. So it's very easy to get like these 4 people on board, and then it's easy to get Joe on board because she's got no reason for it to not be Val. This
is really where the small amount of experience that these first boots have comes into play, and Kiara doesn't hesitate in the same way that Joe and Valentina do. Yeah, like Kiara has been in this spot where. Sure, nobody wants to go, but if you stop too long and say, well, I don't want to vote out anyone, then it's you. Yeah. And Kiara is not doing that again. So yeah, letting that name build momentum and it not be her, that's Kiara understanding that, she still doesn't want to vote anyone out. The way that she feels about it, exactly the same. She loves Val. But unfortunately, whether she wants to vote someone out or she doesn't want to vote someone out, someone's getting voted out. And she doesn't want it to be her. And I think, when you look at how Val and Joe approach this, Val and Joe are still in that newbie stuck, I don't want to vote anyone out. This is what you said in your host impressions. Right? Your preseason predictions. Yeah. Abby's played orgs before. She's played this game. Your concern was that she would come in a mile a minute, know exactly what she was doing, and hit the ground running in ways that the other players weren't. And you were concerned that would bite her in the butt. Yes. What actually happens here is she's the one that rallies the numbers. you can kind of see the difference in gameplay between, say, someone like Kiara and someone like Abby in their confessionals, where they have no reason to lie. You've got Kiara, who really is feeling kind of cut up about the fact that it's going to be Val. And then you've got Abby, who's here to play Survivor. Zero problem with cutting someone, because she's done it before. She's voted people out before. She's been voted out before. It doesn't hurt as much. It's not as scary for her.
Yeah. We need to vote someone out. This is the person I put forward. We're all happy with that. Great.
Yeah.
Carry on. Whereas, you see Kiara have a bit more of a like nurturing conversation with Valentina. Even though she knows that she is about to vote her out, like she's still sort of like cushioning it a bit with her. And it's just like the subtext is amazing in that conversation.
Yeah.
Like where Valentina's saying like, oh, I just feel awful about this. Do you believe me that I feel awful? And Kiara's like, I believe you. Because Kiara feels awful that she's about to vote
Valentina out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I think what is also interesting here, talking about how like Abby playing like potentially a mile a minute, like doesn't seem to have the backlash, but it kind of does, because Valentina votes for Abby, not for Matt, which is what Abby tells Valentina to do.
True.
It comes around that Valentina feels better about a vote on Abby because of what Matt has told her, rather than the other way around.
Abby puts forward this all-girls alliance, which is a very palatable idea, right? And it's in the same way that, like, you know, if so many people are already voting for Valentina, it's very easy for Joe just to jump on board this. If Val gets the disinformation and it's just like, oh, it's all the girls and we're just going to vote out one of the guys, it's very easy for Val just to be like, okay, well, I guess then that's out of my hands. Not what she does.
Effectively, what Matt B achieves in this is to not have his name as the alternate. It could have been 5 votes on Val, 1 vote on Matt, which is risky because, like, as we saw, Valentina is holding the flag, and in that flag is a little bit of rolled up parchment that could lead to Valentina being able to save herself if she discovers that. If her 1 vote is on Matt would go home. So you don't want to be the alternative name. By his conversation with her, the alternate name is Abby. So if Val played an idol, it would have been Abby that went home instead.
So this year with the idols, we decided to do something a little bit different, where we're going to let the audience in on the secret before the players actually get to do it. So that's why we highlighted the X on the well. This year, we've hidden the idols in plain sight. And the exciting thing about this is that everybody, well, not everybody, but a lot of people have correctly guessed that we would probably hide an idol around the well.
We've never had wells before.
Never had wells before. It's something that's consistent across all 3 of them. So they're all correct in that. The problem is they're all looking for like a little brown package wrapped in string. And that is not the path to the idol this time. We saw an X on the well, and what's exciting is they're all circling around it right now. So we'll just have to wait and see how the idol storyline plays out.
Shout out to our crew who managed to get that shot from behind the well that shows you the X and shows the people like walking to it. Great stuff.
Congratulations, Joel.
Yeah.
VIP of the episode.
Yeah, very cool. And, you know, we did this in the first episode as well, where we showed the audience that the first boot idol, like the pathway to that, using the bananas, using the logo.
Yeah.
We're kind of mapping that out so the audience could see the path they would need to take to get to it.
Yeah.
And as much as it's hidden in plain sight, it's not easy. Like, people need to be thinking laterally here.
Yes.
Like, it's in the flag. Like, you carry the flag with you wherever you go.
Yeah.
It's right there at your camp base. And yet, no one's thought to look at that yet.
Yeah. And can confirm, we saw a clue in the yellow flag, and we saw the yellow idol. All of them have a clue in their flag.
Yep.
All of them have that X on the well.
Yeah.
So it is consistent across all 3. Okay, so coming out of the episode, we have Holly, Ken, and Valentina now are 3 redemption outcasts. Sure. Did we say the same thing?
No.
What did you say?
Occupants.
Occupants, not a hotel. We have those 3 there, and as you saw on the next time, we now have enough people at Redemption to run a challenge. So I will be out at Redemption next episode. 3 people, 2 people will fight to live another day. Did I say that right? Fight to live another day. Yep.
Live to fight another day.
Live to fight another day. It's very me to get the saying wrong. 1 person going for good, no more chances, no spot on the jury.
Yeah. High stakes. Higher stakes than ever before on Backyard Survivor Season 4 Redemption. Cool. Thank you so much for watching Inside the Urn with Kat and Bryan.
We will catch you next week for episode 3.
Alone inside the urn.